Hi, I'm Glenn Everett, master of machines. Join us as we check out Greg's Big Block Chevy powered Holden Torana, his beautiful 57 Chevy two-door, and then take this very angry Torana out for a drive. And be sure to subscribe to our channel for more awesome content coming your way. Where did it start for you with cars?
Oh, as a young kid, I always loved them. Matchbox cars was a big hobby of mine, and just grew up from there. I just have the passion for them. I do it for a living. I run 2 car yards and a small wholesale business.
So tell us about the Torana. I'd say that at the moment that would be probably the pinnacle in your collection.
Yeah, the Torana's been a love-hate relationship for many years. Started off, I thought it was going to be a cheap build, but I'm 120,000 into it at the moment, and it hasn't worked out so cheap, unfortunately. It was started off as a street car. It was originally bucket panels that made Street Machine in the 80s, and it was a twin turbo 308 with a gold engine bay. I always wanted it to go fast. You start off at, I'd be happy with a low 10, a high 9. Now I want to try and push it into the 7-second bracket somewhere along the track. Then hopefully we get there soon.
Give us a rundown on the drivetrain.
It's got a 9-inch aluminium pinion support, aluminium centre, 2-speed power guide with a 5500 converter. It's a 468, 454, just board, roller cam. It's only got cast iron heads, but it seems to do the job. It's got a lot of comp, 14.8-1. So yeah, it's good, it's healthy.
So it's a pretty angry engine, obviously. What sort of power does it make naturally aspirated?
Naturally aspirated somewhere around the 700 mark.
And on the gas?
And on the gas it's got 400 a bottle, so it's up around the 1100 mark.
That's not hanging about.
It's a handful.
What sort of numbers have you run on the track so far?
It's run a 880 and 890 pretty consistently, on and off the throttle, so we'll get it to go a lot better than that. Now we've put new slicks on it, it seems to be working a lot better.
And you had a bit of an incident with the car at some point, I
heard? We took it up to Heathcote in trial, and when we first got it going and we just put the bottle on it, broke a track locator on the diff, 3/4 track, and put it into the wall reasonably hard at about 200. It was a fun ride, let me tell you.
And the car was obviously salvageable?
Well, it was borderline. You know, a lot of people said, oh, you know, it's too big a job, and the car was too nice a car to let go.
And Greg, I noticed you've got a bit of a passion for the 50s cars also. Tell us about the 57 Chevy.
Well, the 57's an icon, you know, and a sports coupe. I imported it out of the States, and I seen it. I went to have a look at a GDO Pontiac and seen that and thought, you know what, I've got to have that car. And it's one of those cars, 2-door. It was just the right thing to buy at the time. Love it. And I'm going to put it in the build process soon enough, but I've got a few on the go at the moment, so I've got to get through them.
So what's it consist of at the moment, powertrain-wise?
It's just a 350 Chev, just a basically mild 350 Chev, 2-speed power guide and a 9-inch in it. It's nothing spectacular, but it will be soon.
Well, the car looks pretty good as it is, but when you say build process, what are your plans?
I'd like to do a little mini tub in it, change the colour of it, and it will get a supercharger at some stage of the build.
So just a few minor upgrades.
Yeah, just a few minor upgrades.
Well, I've got some great news. We get to drive this killer Torana. So join me as we take this beast for a spin. Wow, I'm driving the Torana. We've got the nitrous bottle out, we've got the road tyres on it, and we're ready for action. We're going for a cruise. Sure, this car's going to be more happy or more at home on the racetrack. That's where you're going to be able to use that performance where we can't on the road, but hey, I'm happy just to cruise around in this thing, feel the earth shake, and hear that engine and feel the power running through this chassis. That's enough to get my heart racing, even driving around slow. Just to hear this thing idle is enough to excite you. It turns heads, and no wonder. What a car! 468 cubic inch Big Block Chev. What a serious bit of gear. But get this, up to 8,000 RPM. Unbelievable RPM for such a big engine. We're talking 700 plus horsepower in its naturally aspirated form. Thing's got around about 14.5 to 1 compression. It's got two 850 double pumper Barry Grants on it. That is a lot of carburation, massive amount of air. Now when this thing uses the nitrous, it makes an estimated 1,100 horsepower. Runs an 8-second quarter mile at nearly 160 mile per hour. And fuel economy, what's that? You're never going to get fuel efficiency with this engine. It burns through race fuel like you wouldn't believe. And no wonder with twin 850 double pumpers atop, this thing certainly does get the heart racing, that's for sure. That is incredible. I mean, we're just playing with the throttle, 3,000 RPM. The best way I can explain it is the world is about to erupt when you open the throttle on this car. I always say this, but all right, I want this thing too. I want it. You know, the Hatchback Torana was a pretty iconic car. People like Peter Brock at the wheel, obliterating the opposition at Bathurst. This is a totally different ball game. This thing's made for straight line performance. We're talking a lightweight car with a really, really big engine in it, making a lot of power. Should be a handful on the strip, that's for sure. Greg tells me this thing will light the tyres up as long as you want at any speed on the drag strip. Absolutely crazy. Nothing gets the heart racing quite as much as trying to control a car like this down the strip, trying to hook it up and keep the thing in a straight line by the end of the drag strip. It's an awesome feeling and a feeling of great satisfaction when you make it across the line. It's a car that commands great respect. You couldn't just stick anyone in this thing and say, hey mate, flatten it and go for it, because you'd turn it around. A gentle application of the throttle is all that's required to get this thing motoring at a great rate of knots. You can feel the thing's got plenty of stall converter in it as well. As she starts to build up RPM, she starts to accelerate. It's actually surprising, this thing. It's not really as uncomfortable as you'd expect. The steering's really not that heavy. The thing's not that firm in the suspension. I mean, with drag suspension, you want the car to launch and get some weight transfer to those rear tyres, so it's not like a really firm circuit racing setup. I gotta say, that does turn me on a lot. And we're not even trying. The temperature's fantastic, the oil pressure's good. This thing just runs like a dream, and it'd go all day like this. I've had plenty of performance cars over the years, and if you're lucky, you'll get one that doesn't overheat. This thing's just bulletproof. And have a look at that big hood. Massive hood scoop there. Pulls in all that air you need for this engine to ingest to make all that power. Gives you an amazing feeling seeing that thing through the windscreen. .468 cubic inch big block, 700 plus horsepower, cruising along, looking at these hills in this view here. It doesn't get much better, does it? The only bad part about this drive is the fact that I've got to take the car back.
Thanks for watching, and we'd really appreciate it if you'd like and comment on this video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notifications bell because there's a lot more content coming your way.